Hi, today I'm going to show you how to do a really simple loose brusho seascape, and for this I'm using little pots of brusho. So the colours you're going to need are a blue, I'm using turquoise, a green, and I'm using sea green, dark brown, moss green, orange and sandstone. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to start by sprinkling out a little bit of my turquoise. I tend to use a kitchen saver, so I can sprinkle my brusho out and then just add some water. Now turquoise is a really strong colour, so I'm adding lots of water just to tone it down a little bit, but you might want to have a very vivid turquoise sky, or you could use Prussian blue or ultramarine. If you wanted to have more of a stormy effect, you could mix some grey in with it. And basically I'm just using a fairly big brush and sweeping on a wash to show where the sky goes. And going in with a little bit of darker colour just to give it a bit of texture. And then I'm using a piece of kitchen roll and I'm just going to blot out some sun, some of the clouds, just to give my sky a bit of interest. Next I'm going to be using sea green. You could, if you used a different blue to me for your sky, you could use turquoise for the sea. It's your painting, and so you decide what you'd like to do. And I'm roughly going to put mine around 2/3. So I've got a third with my beach here, my sky is in the top and my sea is in my middle third. And I'm now going to be using a wax resist crayon. You could use a candle, a white candle, the opposite end, and I'm just putting in a few lines, because what I'm trying to create is something that looks like this, because I want to preserve some white areas so that I can have some white waves. And then with a fairly dry brush and quite a lot of water mixed in with my sea green, I'm just putting down my sea. So I'm just doing the second part of my wash. I'm also trying to leave some black, white blank paper. And I just want to soften that hard edge. Okay, so now I want to mix up some sandstone. You could use yellow if you prefer for this, or even a grey. A very sort of light grey would also work if you wanted to create a more kind of pebbly beach. But I'm sort of going for a sandstone effect here, and just mixing that up. Quite a lot of water. And I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on here just to make my colour a little bit stronger. Add a little bit of water and move that around. I've got a little bit of green that came from my sea. That doesn't matter because we are going to put some rocks onto our sand in a moment, so you're not going to see those tones. And actually I quite like that colour. It's given me quite a nice effect. So this is my background. and you have to leave that to dry. In true Blue Peter style, here is one that I have done earlier. So this is now completely dry, and we're going to be working next on adding a little bit of interest at the very bottom of my painting. So I'm going to add some rocks by shaking on some brown. Now it's very easy to get carried away with brusho, just very gently tapping out, and I'm doing a mixture of brown, orange, and I'm going to add in a tiny little bit of grey, but not too much because I don't want it to be too dark. And then I'm going to get my spray bottle. I buy these in a cheap pharmacy type store, and you can normally find it in the holiday section. And all I'm doing is fill it up with water, and then I'm just spritzing it on here. This is the fun part, and as you can see, you get this lovely effect, and you just have to kind of go with it. You can't control what brusho is doing, and this is very wet. You might decide that you need to add in a little bit more colour. So I think I need just a little touch down here at the very edge of my paper. So I'm shaking on a little bit more orange. And again, you might want to spritz that if your colour is a little bit too dark. I have another bottle. This used to have some hair product in it, and I just washed it out, and I have a 50-50 bleach and water mixture in here, and I can spray that on and take out my darks. So I'm just softening the effect. I've just blotted a little bit out with my tissue because it was running into the sea, and as you can see, I've got some splashes into my sea, but to be quite honest, once you are looking at that from a distance, you are not really going to notice that, and it will just look like a bit of seaweed. And there you have it. Can't wait to see what your brusho seascapes are like. Have fun and enjoy!